Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast. I'm so sorry for the delay in recording, but of course, Spurs won the game 2-1 against Brighton. What a thrilling game it was. Of course, Brendan Johnson right at the end with a Heung-min Son assist. Now, we are live on YouTube, we are live on X and Facebook. Please do get involved. Give us your thoughts on today's game. Of course, 3 points in the bag. Spurs remain fifth in the Premier League table. We've got three very special guests to talk about today's game. We have got Melvin all the way from Malta, channel regular. Melvin, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. Especially after that really late winner. Buzzing for Brendan Johnson and happy with the win. Sometimes we concede late, sometimes we score late. Postecoglou said these things. He rather score late than concede, obviously. But I'm buzzing with the result. It wasn't the best performance, but we just have to get it over the line, and today, luckily, we did, and the boy scored again, Johnson. I'm loving Brendan Johnson right now. I'm a huge fan of his, and I can't wait to talk about him today.
We will certainly get into the football, Melvin, and a slight correction on my part. Spurs are back into the top four, actually. I was getting all the notes ready. I was getting everything ready, all the screen grabs, all ready to come on here. And, of course, we got the late winner. We've got Johnny Bow back with us, of course, radio presenter with Dublin's 102. Johnny, how are you?
Super, Chris. Super. Well, that was an incredible end to the game because it was looking like it was just going to be 1-1 and we'd have another draw, but they really fought. And Postecoglou, as Melvin said, Postecoglou said that we're always going to try and close out games by scoring, and they did just that. So it's a work in progress, but it's going in the right direction.
We've also got channel regular Craig Dearman back with us. Craig, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm just giving the cat a bit of love because she ran away quite sharply when we scored in the last minute, so freaked her out a little bit because she was asleep. So bless her. She seems all right now. So, but yeah, the cat's fully coys as I'll be all. So yeah, what a game! What a club, honestly. Let's get into this.
Let's get into it indeed. Let's talk about where Spurs are in the Premier League right now. We are fourth. We have now played 24. We have won 14. We've drawn 5 and lost 5. We have a goal difference of plus 15. We have 47 points. Now only 7 points away from league leaders Liverpool. Now the match stats today, Spurs had 53% of the ball to Brighton's 47%. Shots, Spurs had 16 to Brighton's 6. Shots on target, Spurs had 6 to Brighton's 3. Corners, Spurs 9, Brighton 6. And fouls, Spurs 14, Brighton 13. Of course, Spurs went 1-0 down. Pascal Gross scoring from the penalty spot in the 17th minute. At half-time, it was 1-0 to Brighton. Sarr scored, equalised for Tottenham in the 61st minute. And as we have already mentioned, that superb assist from Heung-min Son in the 96th minute. And Brendan Johnson getting the winner. Melvin, let's start the show with you. Your thoughts on today's game?
I was disappointed in the beginning, obviously, going 1-0 down. I think it took us a while. I think some of the players haven't played with each other yet, and it just seems to lack a bit of creativity and cohesiveness, and we just struggled to create. And even though we did at the end play well and it was a good result, and I think the subs were really brilliant, and I think the signings have. When I looked at the bench, I think that's what at the end of the day, that's what won us the game. It was a really strong bench. We were able to bring on Son and Johnson, who combined for the goal. And yeah, it's just one of those games where Brighton tactically set up really well to press us and make the game really difficult, like Everton as well did for us. I mean, we had moments in the game where we played well. We had moments in the game where we created our own problems, and I thought defensively we were solid. I mean, the back five, the back four, if you want to include Vicario, they've been consistent all season. They've been strong. They tackle well. They block well. It's just in the middle, I think, where a bit of the problems remain, where there isn't that much experience yet between the middle three. We still don't even know who our best lineup is in the middle. Does Bissouma start? Does Sarr start? Does Bentancur get back to the same level of player he was under Conte? There's a lot of question marks that we still don't know, and we're still figuring things out. But I'm just delighted. I'm happy with the club. I'm happy with where we're going, and I'm just fully if today was a draw, I would have been upset, but it wasn't. But the overall direction of the club, where we're going, I'm still delighted. So today, a late winner like this, it's what we're all about. It's what Spurs are all about. Probably the stadium was absolutely buzzing. I saw some videos on Twitter. I absolutely love it when these things happen, and I'm going to mention him again. Brendan Johnson is slowly becoming one of my favorite players, along with Richarlison today. Richarlison worked his socks off, and credit to him. I mean, he's such a brilliant player, and yeah, we needed a result like this, because at home you need to win and you need to create a fortress. So yeah, I'm happy with today, and hope it continues.
I can confirm, Melvin, that the place is absolutely buzzing right now. Johnny, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on today's game.
Again, I watched just before talking about Spurs, I watched Everton and Manchester City play earlier, and Sean Dyche set the team up to really do very well in the first half. Manchester City had no answers, and then it all changed when Pep Guardiola made a couple of changes, and similar kind of situation in the game today. Brighton were edging it over us in the first half, and then things started to change. A lot of good substitutions in the second half, and then with Heung-min Son back, it's made such a difference. I mean, bringing him on really lifted the team. I thought James Maddison had a decent game. He made some really good passes. Just unfortunately, we went 1-0 down, so we were kind of trying to claw our way back into the game. But once we did, you could see that there was a possibility or a chance in the end that we could equalise or go on and win the game, which is ultimately what we did. We've got Wolves, Chelsea and Crystal Palace on the way, and they're 3 winnable games. So if we keep playing with that confidence, and that'll give us a lift now, winning those games give you a lift. That's like Fergie time for Manchester United. It really does give the confidence to the players. So if we can continue to play like that, and as Melvin said, Brendan Johnson, reminds me of Dele Alli really when he was playing really well for Spurs. You can kind of see that they're playing for each other. It's a team spirit, and it's making me feel good. It's the first time in a number of years I start to feel really confident about Spurs.
Well, Dele Alli was actually in the stadium today in James Maddison's box. Craig, let's get your thoughts on today's game, because I tell you what, credit to Brighton. They certainly give us a game today.
Yeah, they did, and Brighton have been good the last few years. They're an established Premiership side. Wrongly, a lot of people I think look at Brighton and think, oh, it's only Brighton, but they are a really good team. Obviously, Potter took them to a different level, and Deserby's carried that on. I mean, if it was a draw, you couldn't say that was an unfair result. I think the win glosses over just some small issues that we're still going to be working on. But at the end of the day, it's a results business, and we got the win. It's nice to get a win and a late goal for us in the last few minutes. I thought the substitutions made a difference again today. I think Johnson looked so much better coming on. I thought Højbjerg always looks better coming on, and bringing on Son. You're going to get with Sonny. Probably the right decision not to start him after all that travelling and everything he's been through the last couple of weeks in his country. So yeah, all in all, it worked out well. It worked out well for us. We got the win. As I say, it wasn't a perfect performance by any means, but at this stage of the season and that type of game, you've just got to take the 3 points and move on. And as Johnny said, there's some winnable games coming up now. So if we put our foot on the gas and actually get some wins in those games, we can hopefully consolidate certainly 4th place, and just gives a bit of breathing space between the teams in 5th and 6th.
Craig, I know we're getting to the key match instance, but do you think the Spurs deserve the win today? Because Brighton at the end, they had a couple of glorious chances, didn't they?
Hand on heart, I can't say that we deserved it, but you don't always get what you want, what you deserve in football. We've had games like that where we've deserved wins and we haven't got them, and it goes the other way, doesn't it? It's just the way it is. That last break, that last counter was just clinical. And that's what we've been missing. That cross from Sonny. Werner had a couple of chances to put in balls, and that ball from Son was the difference. in those key moments. I mean, Brendan Johnson was breaking his neck to get there. I didn't actually think he'd get there, but the pace on the boy is phenomenal. So, but to obviously for him to score it, the ball had to be right, and that wasn't an easy finish. Let me tell you, that was bobbling all over the place at the end, and a couple of yards out that might have gone over. So we deserve to win 100%. I think tongue in cheek there. Yeah, I think we were a bit lucky today. But look, we'll take it. We've done it to other teams. So, people would say we didn't deserve the draw up at Man City. Some people say we would. Some people say we wouldn't. So that's the way football is. But the main important thing for me is we kept going to the end.
Absolutely. Melvin, let's come to you. It's great to see Spurs back in the top four, isn't it?
Yeah, the season, I feel it will be massive disappointment if we don't get Champions League football, and they weren't really our expectations in the beginning of the season. I mean, personally, for me, I always thought, I don't know, I just always think we will get top four. It's just sort of expectations I've had about Spurs in the last, I guess, 8 years or 10 years, you can say. But yeah, most of the Spurs fan base, I guess, didn't really expect us to do that well. Everyone was saying we'd get maybe sixth or fifth. But yeah, I think the top four this season will be a massive disappointment, especially since we're out of the FA Cup, we're out of Europe, and we only have one game a week, and the squad is looking really, really, the quality and depth is looking good, and there'll be competition for places now, which is something we didn't have for a while. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who plays in the middle. I mean, I think with 5 subs, everybody is going to get to play. I think there's going to be more energy on the pitch because people will give, they'll run more because they know there's another person coming behind them. And yeah, we have to get top four. It'll be interesting to see how close we can get to the top. Let's say we're 8 points or 10 points off for next season, because we dropped some silly points this season. We've had a run of games where we missed 8 or 9 players, and if we do well to pick up points this season and keep pushing and if I was the manager, I would put pressure on the team and tell them, listen, top 4 is not the priority. We have to challenge and we have to push. We have to have that mentality. We have to aim higher, and we'll take it game by game. And obviously there'll be setbacks and there'll be games where we deserve to win and we don't. It's just part of football. But I think overall it's been a positive season, and I think it will continue to be sort of that kind of season where we can easily achieve top 4. And I think Postecoglou and the team and the club feels that. If you could see the reaction of Romero at the end of the game, they were so hyped. They were so hyped to get the 3 points. I mean, we were gutted when we lost against Everton, and Everton played well. We drew against Everton. Everton played really well against City, and you think we were only 2 minutes away from getting 3 points at an away stadium. So we take 3 points today. We move forward, and up the Spurs.
Johnny, doesn't that make it even more special, the work that Ange Postecoglou has done here, that we're sitting in top 4, but we know that there is so much more work to be done, and we know that these players can perform a lot better. We know that, with the amount of injuries, suspensions, and other issues we've had on and off the pitch this season, we know that there is so much more to come. Doesn't it make it more exciting? Absolutely.
And we're only 2 points off Arsenal, and we all remember Arteta running down the pitch there against Liverpool last weekend. Like, he's only 2 points. They're only 2 points ahead of us. So it's nip and tuck all the way, and it will be like that until the end of the season. And I said those next games, we've got a bit of revenge that we have to do on Chelsea, and I think we can. So Wolves, Chelsea, Crystal Palace is at least, that's a possible 9 points there, or if not 7 maybe. But it's all to play for, and the team are playing with such confidence at the moment. When was the last time we had a real snatch and grab win like that? They haven't been coming very often for us in recent times, but it's just nice to win in the 97th minute or the 99th minute and have someone score, and it lifts the crowd, and they can feel the energy from the players, and the players also likewise can feel it from the crowd, and it's on and upwards really for Spurs. And remember, Brighton finished 6th last season. They're a good side. Lallana, Steele in goal, Gross, they're all quality players. That's a great Premier League side. And so when you think of De Zerbi, he was over in Italy over the last few days getting dental work. That's a different type of pain that he suffered in the 96th minute or 97th minute today than the dental work I'm sure he took. But it's great. It's great to see for Spurs, and I think top four is definitely on the cards. Third or fourth, I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't think first and second are there, but I think third or fourth, and we should really go for it. And I think for Champions League football next season, and with a stadium like that, and with a fan base like that, we deserve it.
Craig, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11, because Postecoglou made 2 changes today from the team that drew 2 to Everton at Goodison last week. Sarr in for Højbjerg, Kulusevski in for Johnson. So the starting 11 was as follows: Vicario, Porro, Romero as captain, Van der Ven, Udogi, Sarr, Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski, Richarlison and Timo Werner. Subs today: Forster, Royale, Davis, Dragusin, Skip, Højbjerg, Basuma, Johnson and Son. What did you make of the starting 11 today? And more importantly, what did you make of the sub bench? Because there seemed to be some real quality there today.
Yeah, it was better. Let's start with the sub bench first. The bench was a lot stronger than it has been in previous weeks. I wasn't expecting the front three, actually. I really did expect Son to start, but as I said before, it's probably just the jet lag and everything he's been through. He didn't really need to start this game, just run him into the ground sort of thing. I was surprised actually started Bentancur because I didn't think he'd been at his best. And he just didn't seem to have as quick feet as he obviously lost the ball for the penalty, but obviously he's still coming back. But I was just surprised that he got the nod. I thought Bissouma might get in ahead of him. But obviously he grew into the game a bit better, Bentancur. I thought he had a much better first part of the second half. That back four and the goalkeeper obviously picks itself at the moment pretty much. So it was after that, like I say, it was just the front three, and who you go with. Probably right that Johnson was dropped down to the bench. Werner kept his place, obviously, and Richarlison has been on fire, scoring wise anyway. So probably nice balance. He's getting the balance right, isn't it? I suppose as well, and that's what he did. But as we've said, look, this doesn't gloss over. We're not perfect. I know even Man City aren't perfect every week, but there is still a lot of work to do. But as I think it was Johnny said, there's the fact we're still in fourth, and we would say we're nowhere near what we know we can be. Is kind of testament to the team, and I think that's what we all need to remember, that we haven't been brilliant really since the Chelsea game. I haven't seen us play. I've seen spates of it, the free flowing attacking football we saw in the first 10 games, but it's been in fits and starts, and yet we're still fourth. And like you say, we're 2 points off Arsenal, right? They've got a game in hand. And even in midweek, half time in the City game, we were 2 points off Man City, I think. So, it's all not doom and gloom, but there is work to do. Definitely still work to do. They're still building it, and I think it's really important we get that Champions League place. This is a business end of the season now. We can do it. And I think it will go down to fifth, that Champions League spot. But we just got to keep going and pick up. If we can pick up 3 wins in the next 3 games, that will stand us in good stead.
Melvin, let's come to you on the starting 11. Were you pleased?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to complain if Son started or anyone else started. I mean, they're all quality players, and they all put on the pitch to perform, and they all seem to. I think equally, if it was the other way around, and Werner and Kulusevski came in the second half, I think we could have had a result. Maybe not the same way, but you never know in football. But yeah, I was pleased with the lineup. I mean, I'm happy we got the injured players back and the players that went out for international duty, and now it just seems to have, a real quality in the team. You feel bad for the young boys that used to be on the bench and used to get minutes, and now they can't get picked anymore. But that's the sign of a big club, and it just seems that now we have a proper bench, and we'll probably keep adding to it, and yeah. So I don't. It's interesting to see if Bentancur can play like he did last year. I really hope he picks up the same form. I know it's been early and he's had such a crucial injury, and it's going to be hard. And I see glimpses of him where he's he's like doubting himself sometimes. He gets caught. He doesn't know where to go, what to do. But either it was due to them pressing us to the tactic. I don't know. Hopefully Bentancur can play for 90 minutes first of all, because he seems to be taking him off at 60. But then again, Postecoglou was doing that in the early part of the season. He always subs his midfielders because the way he plays with high energy, high attacking football, I think the players get gassed out and fatigued by 60, 65 minutes, which is a testament to Richarlison, because he played 90 minutes and he was sprinting at 90 minutes at the end of the match. And I'm happy with the lineup, and it's just such a difference. You look at the team, how it was last season and the season before, and even the season before, and we're not the same club. Not many survivors left. Only really core few players have survived, and under I guess Paratici and the new direction of the club, and we're just a completely different football club now. And I'm loving the squad. I'm loving the vibes and the energy that the players create, even when they were celebrating. And in the end, you can see there's a real determination to win within Spurs, which is something that I think we've missed for a while. I think 3 points. There's a hunger for 3 points. Like we saw Van de Ven's interview after Everton, and he was absolutely gutted that we dropped 2 points. And today it meant everything to them to get the 3 points today. Because if we miss those 2 points again, it could have been real critical at the end of the season. I mean, we need to keep grinding out these victories and keep pushing, because we need to get close to that 70, 71, 72 point mark to get into the top 4.
I'll tell you, Melvin, some of the videos I've just been sent, the South Stand is having a party right now, which is fantastic to see. Dragusin was running down by the corner flag when the goal was scored. That was fantastic to witness. And I also saw Scott Munn in the director's box celebrating with the fans. He looked extremely happy with the win right at the end. Now, Postecoglou in his press conference just now has just said, pleased with getting the win. And I thought that we probably deserved it in the end for our endeavours. Fair to say that the first half wasn't great. Part of that is because Brighton are a good side. They're well coached and very disciplined, and we weren't. We just took a few liberties with our football, our effort and our work rate. There are a few things that we have been really good at this year, but we didn't do it in the first half. I thought the second half was a lot better. Johnny, is that a fair assessment from Ange Postecoglou?
I think it is. I do. I think he's someone we need at this club for a long time. I mean, when you think back, and I don't want to talk about the past, but when Antonio Conte and Mourinho were there, and they're very well decorated managers, they've won everything in the game, but the tactics and the strategy was just so negative. Like, we'd be happy to get back a 1-1 against Brighton today, or and now we're going for it. In the last minute, we're really trying to win, and there seems to be a progression amongst the team that they're going to fight for this. And I feel more confident as a fan just watching it on the TV. I feel we can win this today, whereas before, maybe 3-4 years ago, I'd be kind of thinking, oh, here we go again. But it just seems to have given me a lift. And as you said, with the South Stand and all the fans to be cheering outside on Tottenham Court Road, and just be a great vibe, and we need it. And as I said, we deserve it. And I have to say, top 4 is definitely on the cards. I think we can finish 4th. I think realistically, I think we can finish 4th. We're only 2 behind Arsenal, as I said, and it's all to play for. We just have to keep really attacking, keep that attacking mode going, because that's working for us. And it's only going to get better, Chris. The coaching seems to be good. It's a lot better than it has been in the last few years. The players seem to know the positions they're playing in. Now, I think Vicario, Richarlison, and Ramiro had good games today. I think they actually had really good. I think Kulusevski, Bentancur, I think maybe possibly Werner didn't have great games, I think, as much as they normally do. So when some players aren't playing as well or not having as good as game, there are other players that are stepping up, and that's what a team is about. Everyone does their bit and tries to cover for other players that are not playing well or it's not going for them. So yeah, it's all good, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Craig, let's come to you. Let's talk about the match instance today. After just 50 seconds, Welbeck had a chance and Vicario ended up making a good save. What did you make of that incident?
We just didn't start quick, did we? I mean, we could have easily been 1-0 down quite quickly there. To be honest, I only saw a rerun of it because I was a bit late starting it, but it just goes to show that you can't switch off at any moment in a Premiership game, can you? It was
Van der Ven actually lost the ball, which was really surprising.
Oh right, like I say, I haven't seen it fully, so. Yeah, but it just comes down to concentration, and you got to be ready from the start, haven't you? And the first half in games, last few weeks we seem to be a lot better in the second half. You must give them a rocket in half time, because we do come out a lot better in the second half. I wouldn't say we started games slowly. I mean, you could argue we did today if that had gone in, but it didn't. But it was a warning, and I just like to see us blow teams away in the first half, get 3-0 up in the first half, like we did against Burnley. I know it was Burnley and they haven't been having the best season, but it's our type of football. That's what you're going to hopefully get. That's what the ultimate is, right? But we just got to go at it from the start and hopefully play some first halves better than the second half. But then again, the other side of the coin is, it doesn't matter really when you score. If we'd gone 2-0 up and they'd got one back and we'd held on and this was all in the first half, you'd say that was a decent result. It's just football, isn't it? We all get excited at these last-minute goals. For me, it doesn't matter when you score. It's all about the result. Yes, you could manage the game better, but at the end of the day, the 3 points is 3 points. And we got that today, and they've got plenty of time to work on this, remember. They haven't got any midweek games. They'll be learning. He's got a full squad to work with, more or less, now. I think... Solomon, he's had a small procedure. He said he should be back in a couple of weeks, so that's another option. And the only other one is Sessegnon. I believe he's on the road to recovery as well. So much like Man City, it would be amazing for Ange to have a fully strength squad to pick from in the running, and hopefully no more injuries.
Melvin, let's come to you. After 2 minutes, of course, Brighton had a corner. Maddison was in front of Vicario. What did you make of that incident? Because, of course, Vicario has been heavily criticised by a lot of pundits, a lot of fans, including Spurs fans, by the way that he's dealt with corners in the last couple of games. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think we didn't deal with it very, very, very poorly today. I mean, we didn't concede from corners today, and just the club needs time to practice these things on the football pitch, and it seemed like they had a full week, and we were a lot better. I think because of the rule change. Before, it used to be they used to protect the goalkeepers a lot more, perhaps, and nowadays, I don't know, it just seems that people were targeting Vicario because they thought that maybe it's a defect and they could score, but it was fine today, and I think over time, with a couple of more games, it's something that we would just get out of the system and we'll learn how to deal. But it's nothing major, nothing really, not a problem that I see, being long term for us this season. I think it was only there for 1 or 2 matches, and I don't think we'll have that problem anymore this season. We will probably still concede from a corner or two because it's part of the game, and lots of teams try to score from corners, obviously, but I don't see it being a real issue for us this season.
Johnny, let's come to you. Of course, Brighton went 1-0 up via a penalty. Pascal Gross after 16 minutes. What did you make of the penalty incident itself? Bentancur caught in possession. Van der Ven fouled Welbeck. Was it a clear-cut penalty for you?
I think it was, Chris. I mean, I have to be honest. Obviously, we're all big Spurs fans, and it's easy to say, well, I don't think it was. I think it was a penalty, yeah. And having listened to some of the pundits on the radio as well after the game, they all agreed as well that it looked like a penalty. Even some of the Spurs pundits as well, former players. And it was a rash tackle, I suppose. Look, these things happen in football, but a lot of teams are trying to get, as Craig was saying, look, we don't want to be going down 1-0 straight away and then having to drag ourselves back into the game. And a lot of teams now maybe are seeing that we have a little bit of a weakness at the opening part of the game, really get stuck in them, get the counter-attack ball going, into them, put them under pressure. And it seemed to work. The tactics worked. And so Van de Ven made a bit of a mistake. If I was marking all the players today, I have to say he was probably the lowest rated. I mean, and he's the fastest in the Premier League, but he's usually 100%, but I didn't think he had a great game today. But look, he can't be great every week. But I think it was a penalty, if you have to, I'd say 9 out of 10 was a penalty, 10 times.
Craig, penalty for you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was a penalty. But the rollout, Vicario rolled the ball out to, who was it? Bentancur, wasn't it? Whether that led to the penalty, I can't quite remember. But we certainly had some warnings before then, and that's what playing out from the back does, isn't it?
It was Bentancur caught in possession, yeah.
It was Bentancur, yeah. We kind of made that ourselves, didn't we? But it was a penalty, 100%. Yeah. You can't argue with that. Definitely a penalty.
Craig, let's stay with you. After 22 minutes, Maddison with an excellent ball through to Richarlison, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper saved it, good save. Werner then followed it up with a shot, which was blocked. Richarlison's got to do better there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And I don't really want to criticise Richarlison because he's the centre forward and he's been scoring goals. But the centre forward role is about a lot more than just scoring goals, even though that's your main target, if you like, as a main part of your job. I just think he needs to control the ball better. I know we've been used to Harry Kane. I hate to bring Harry up again, but I know we're used to that, and the ball just sticks to him. But there were several occasions today where the ball's just bounced off him, or he's played a loose pass, like the one Maddison's bursting through. I think it was just before that. Maddison's just bursting through, and all he's got to do is lay it off to him, and it wasn't a particularly good pass, and the move died out. But going back to your original point, that's the type of chance that he's got to be taking if he wants to be considered one of the top strikers in the Premier League, because Haaland would have finished that. I think Son would have finished that. Salah would have finished that. He just needs to work on it. Just work, keep working. One thing you can't fault with Richarlison is his work rate. He keeps going and going and going. And again today, he just did not stop. But he's got other parts of his game he still needs to work on, and he'll know that. But he should have done better there, Chris. Definitely.
Craig, tell me, how close was James Maddison's shot? That looked extremely close. Was it literally millimetres? Yeah. It was so close. It was one of them when you kind of off your seat, depending on the angle you're at, but you're just expecting the net to ripple. It was very unlucky. But yeah, not much else I can say about it. It was just incredibly close, but obviously didn't go in, sadly. But I think he's getting back to better fitness now, Addison. You could see when he came on against City, wasn't it, that he wasn't quite there yet at all, and really does go to show the levels you've got to be at in the Premier League to keep up with the game pace, doesn't it? So, but he's getting there. Nice touches today, nice through balls, trying to make things happen, getting around the pitch. So it's good to see him back, but it's going to take a few weeks. But good to see him back on the pitch is the main thing. Melvin, let's come to you. In the 28th minute, a good move from Spurs. It went through to Richarlison, couldn't quite control it to get a shot in. What did you make of Richarlison's performance today?
I think he worked his socks off. He ran a lot. I think he's improving game after game. Obviously, he didn't score today, but 9 from 9 is a pretty good return for a striker. And I think he needs to be fed real opportunities to score. And I don't think we gave him much chances today. I think we struggled a bit to create, and and I think he was let down by the people around him in a way. But you can't really blame the team. I think the way Brighton set up to frustrate us and not create chances, not start off attacks quickly like Postecoglou wants, and it just, I think Brighton got tired at the end of the game, and which is why we were able to score so late, and we had really fresh players come on at the end of the game, and I think that's how we created the last goal. But Richarlison, compared to last season, he's a completely different player. Yes, he's had surgery and he's had off the pitch issues, which as a football fan and as a person, I mean, I'm completely in love with Richarlison at the moment. The guy, I mean, he's my screensaver. The guy, like, I love the guy. Honestly, Richarlison. It needs to be studied how this football player went from being so hated and so ridiculed by our fan base to now I absolutely look forward to seeing him score, because honestly, I just love it when he scores. And if he keeps this run going till the end of the season, it makes my day, honestly, when he scores a goal and he does, his little dance at the end. And it's just.
Do you know, Melvin, what I found today is last week at Everton, he took those goals superbly, and they were first time finishes. Today, it just seemed like he wanted the extra touch. Is that fair?
Perhaps. Maybe the quality of balls he was receiving wasn't the best. I think if he receives them in certain places, he can get a shot off or lay it on to someone or switch it wide. But he works his socks off today, and you get that from Richarlison every single game. And to have a player like him, he's always available. He doesn't pick up any niggly injuries. He gives his socks off, and he's very good from the air, from set pieces, and he's just going to keep improving. And he seems to be playing in the Premier League for 10 years, but he's not that old. He's still quite a young player, and he can probably still improve under Postecoglou. I think he'll probably not even seen the best out of Richarlison. I think the best is yet to come. Even when the people around him improve, I think he'll just start tapping them in at the end, and he'll look brilliant because of all the work the people around him do. I think the way Brendan Johnson came on today and just tapped it in at the end. Yes, you need to be there at the end of the day, and you need to have the concentration to tap it in and get it on target and score. But he's always at the right place at the right time when we need him to. And and he did step up when Son left, which is something that needs to be said as well, because we missed Son today. And when Sonny came on, I was delighted, and I'm delighted for Richarlison to keep playing and hopefully keep scoring, because he seems to be, his confidence is back. And last season, when he was coming off, Conte was subbing him off. He didn't look right. He didn't look happy. He looked like, he doesn't know what he's doing, like he's at the wrong club. Many things were going wrong for him. And this season, it just seems to be going right for him. And it's exactly what he needed. And everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we overspent on Richarlison. We paid too much." And now it just seems we bought the right player, and the right player is and he fits our system perfectly. And I think he'll improve, and he'll get even better.
Johnny, I want to fast forward a little bit, and then we'll come back to the point we were at. A lot of comments at the moment in the comments section talking about Brennan Johnson. Simon writes here, Johnson equals speed. That's all. There have been a number of comments saying that Johnson didn't really do a lot in the game until he scored the goal. Is that a fair assessment? Because it just seems that Johnson is getting it in the neck and has done in the past couple of weeks from Spurs fans.
Yeah, I mean, equally, like I think you were just talking about Richarlison, he was getting it as well in the neck for a while. And, in life itself, life's not easy for a lot of people. It's challenging. And I imagine for all of us, we all have challenges in life. But being a Premier League football, people think, oh, they're paying a lot of money. It's no problem. They have the same issues we have. And Richarlison has them off the pitch. We don't know if Brandon Johnson has. I don't know. But I imagine he's young. He's getting a lot of hassle on social media because all those young guys use social media, and they'll say they don't, but they do watch the comments, and I think people just have to be respectful of that as well. Just look, with a coach will decide maybe to change your style to fit the team, and some players are very good at switching styles that the coach wants them to do on the pitch. I mean, David Moyes will bring in a player and say, look, that's the way I want you to play. And it may not work. And then they decide to move them on a year or two later and sell them on because they just weren't able to get it. And I think Brennan Johnson is getting it. He's beginning to get it. That's why his performances are beginning to improve. And with young players, you have to work on it on the training pitch. We're not there during the week. We don't see what goes on. We don't see, the way Postecoglou wants the players to play, and are they able to adapt to his strategy and style of play? And some are, and some aren't. And I think that Richarlison has shown us that if you have issues, outside of your workplace or whatever, to deal with the root cause, get therapy, get help, get psychological help, and the help is there. It's everywhere. And look, he's a great example. It seems to be working for him, and I'm so happy to see him doing well because from previous podcasts I was a little harsh on him. But with Brandon Johnson, he's a lot younger. He reminds me of Dele Alli. That's why I mentioned him earlier. And I think that I think it's very fair to say he's full of speed. He's gonna keep improving. He's gonna get that goal will give him great confidence, and it'll only get better from here. And he has a great coach. So everything is set up for him to be a Spurs player for the next decade and to be a really good player for us and to score goals. And he has great, he has more mature strikers in the team that he can learn from.
Yeah, I agree, Johnny. Well said. Craig, let's come to you in the 29th minute. Vicario threw it out to Bentancur. He was tackled and it ended up with Vicario making a good save. He'd done this a couple of times during the game. A little frustrating for you because it just seems... I know you guys have already applauded Vicario today for the saves that he made, but it just seemed that on a couple of occasions during the game today, it was because of what he did.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's like I touched on earlier. He rolled it. I know Ange wants us to play it from the back, and you're going to get times where we're caught. It's just a fact of playing football like that. But he did put us in trouble a couple of times, and for me, if you can't find the pass or a pass that's not going to really put you in danger, and I know that's a split-second decision sometimes, then you've just got to go long, surely. But it just seems like Ant wants us to play it from the back all the time, which is what they've been told to do. He's doing exactly what he's been told to do. I don't think... there was a couple of occasions where he didn't play particularly good passes or good throws or rolls, but that one, obviously, the one that led to the penalty did put us in a bit of trouble. And like I say, it's going to be fine lines. You do see it with City and with Arsenal. You're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. But give me playing out from the back more every day of the week rather than just lumping it up the pitch like famously Wimbledon say used to do. I want to see us been playing football. But as Darren said there is a time and a place definitely just to hit it long and get us up the pitch. It's just knowing when to do it, I suppose, and it's a tough one. But he did make a brilliant save the first time he landed us in trouble, I have to say. But you are going to get caught, sadly, and it's just a fact of football.
I've got to say as well, I don't think I've ever known a team come here to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and place so many balls across their box to their goalkeeper and across their back four. They were very, very risky football under Roberto De Zerbi, but extremely entertaining football. I thought Brighton were good today. Craig, let's stay with you. In the 36th minute, Timo Werner, good 1-2, crossed to Richarlison. He hit it wide. What did you make of Timo Werner today?
There was a couple of occasions. I think there was a run in the second half. He did exactly what I want to see him do. He's just run at players with pace. It didn't result in anything, but you did go past two or three of them like they weren't there. And I just want to see him doing that. I thought he had a quieter game, as in creating chances. But I just wish he'd cut back on his right foot a couple of times and have a shot. He did have a couple of shots today. But again, sort of powder puff finishes. His left foot's okay. But Yes, if anybody was listening on audio, Darren's saying that he won the go-karting yesterday that Chris put on the channel. Go and watch the video if you're interested. It's a very good video. Werner.
Hold on. You can't just say that and carry on. Some of us stick to the rules and some of us didn't. That's all I'll say. Now you can
right,
on.
Okay. Yes, apparently, I'll just cover that off. Apparently, anybody who's been go-karting, just to divert for a minute, you do get given a safety briefing and you're told not to treat them like bumper cars, and you must steer clear of people, not deliberately bump into anybody. And apparently I wasn't there, but apparently some people were. So
they thought they were at the Dodgems at the fairground, Craig. That's the truth.
Right, I'll leave that for you three to squabble over. But I'll be going myself in a couple of weeks with the family, so I'll let you know if anything's improved. Back to Timo Werner. He didn't have his strongest game today, but he is getting the crosses in, although they weren't. What does drive me mad a little bit is the low crosses. I know we've had a lot of success from the low crosses. I just would like to see us vary it up a bit and just dink one to the far post or something like that. That's the only criticism I've got with that, because it does seem these low balls coming in do get cut out more often than not. I just want to see us vary it up a bit. I'd love to see Timo Werner just dink one to the far post and hopefully somebody can come in at the back post and head it in, because Richarlison's great in the air. He does seem to go to the front post a lot. Klinsmann used to make that run to the front post a lot. That was his preferred way to finish. But yeah, he didn't have his strongest game, but he did put in a shift again. I thought he worked fairly hard. Jury's still out whether I think we're going to sign him full time in the summer. My guess is we probably will for the price. I think he'd be a decent squad player, and we're going to need that squad if I'm going to say it, if we're in Europe next year. I'm not going to say that we're getting Champions League yet. I'm not getting carried away, but we will need a squad. When we will be in Europe, yes.
Melvin, let's come to you. In the 38th minute, Kulusevski had a shot that was saved. In the 40th minute, ball into Richarlison. It just seemed that he wanted the extra touch, as I mentioned earlier. A minute later, Richarlison had a shot blocked. In the 44th minute, pass from Maddison through to Richarlison. Didn't quite happen. 1-0 at half-time. How are you feeling at that point?
I was confident that we would at least score, but because what we spoke about, we had quality players on the bench. We had our captain on the bench, and I thought we scored. I was disappointed that we didn't create as much. I thought Timo in the first half was actually pretty good. I just don't think he had the service. I think the few balls that they were, that he had, and he had some space to run into, but the wingers didn't get much opportunity to do anything. And because credit to Brighton, they didn't even let us play. So you have to give them credit. So our wingers were starved of getting quality passes for them to run into the space. So that's why. But at the end of the first half, I think Werner produced probably one of the best chances for us. And I thought, come on, yes, more of this. And even Kulusevski was quiet the first half and played much better in the beginning of the second half. And I just thought the whole game that we didn't create and we weren't fluid as much as we were, this season. It's probably, rusty players, a bit of everything, because players can be back from injury, players not knowing, probably the first time that Bentancur played with Sarr or played with Bissouma. They play in training, obviously, but probably one of the first few games that some of these players have played together, and it shows. I think we're still early and we're still early on their Postecoglou's philosophy. You could see when we had, I hate to mention him, but I use him as the yardstick to see where we are as a football club. Pochettino's first season, you think. You try to compare the two, and under Pochettino, it took time for us to settle. And obviously, we have a much, much better quality of squad. If you compare the two, we have a much better squad than we did back then. But yeah, you have to think these players and I guess in the project that we're going on there, we have to wait until these players to play together for 2-3 years, and then you can really, really judge them. we have to stop, as a Spurs fan base, stop being short-sightedness, and you have to look at the bigger picture. And there's so many positives when you think about the bigger picture. And when I think about players like Brendan Johnson, even Werner, he's only 27, and you think the squad is full of 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 24-year-olds. They're very, very young players. There's some of them haven't played. This is their first Premier League season. You know, Brendan Johnson only played for Nottingham Forest last season. He's playing for a big club, and I'm excited about seeing most of these players develop and gain more Premier League experience, because it's something that it's a lot. It's a lot. It's people who understand football. They know these things. You know that everything takes time, and people. It's very, very rare, and I can only name one or two players. One of them is probably Van de Ven, that came into the side and looks like he's been playing there for 5 seasons. Van de Ven looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for 5-6 years, and I've not seen many other players do that. And you could say, yeah, but no, it's just and he didn't even play much German football either. So I'm happy with the squad. I'm happy with the team, but we need to be patient with them, and all the positive signs are there, but there's also some negative things too that are hindering us. But so I'm just happy and I'm patient, and it's just we need to look at the bigger picture, and I keep thinking about where we will be in 2 seasons. You know, this team.
Melvin, I can see all the positives. You just said there are a few negatives. What are those? What are they?
I think there's a bit of naivety sometimes with the team. I think even Postecoglou, there's a bit of naivety with him. I think tactically, I think he's good, but I think we play too much dangerous football in a way, because we're one misplaced pass from conceding a goal. But luckily we have Van de Ven and Romero, which are absolutely brilliant. And who are absolutely brilliant at, you know, their recovery speed. You know, they make up for and even Vicario, we didn't mention him today. He produced 2 incredible saves in the first half that pretty much kept us in the game. Let's say we didn't have a keeper as good as Vicario, and we conceded 2 goals early in the first half. That game would have been, you know, close to over, and we probably wouldn't have turned it around. You know, I think that's the bit of criticism I would have of Postecoglou, where I would say we play too much on the line. We are too much on the edge. I mean, it makes for brilliant football, and it's exciting, and we're never boring. The game is never boring, because we either concede and we're angry, but then we score and it's brilliant. Just like today. Today's probably a typical Postecoglou game this season. It's never boring. It's never a 1-0, is it? Like a Jose 1-0 that we used to have, or a Conte victory. It's end to end. It's exciting, and I think that's why I keep saying his attacking philosophy. We need time. We need time, and it will take time. I think the way he wants us to be is for us to blow teams out of the water, score 3 quickly with the way we play, and then it doesn't matter if we concede 1 or 2, because we already scored 3, and it's going to take time for us to become that team.
And Postecoglou has just been talking about Heung-min Son and said he's a world-class player. I thought we did well to cover his absence. Richie obviously stepped up in terms of goal threat and a few other players, but to have a world-class player for the run-in for us is brilliant. Johnny, let's come to you. Of course, as I mentioned, half-time it was 1-0 to Brighton. 3 minutes after the break, Maddison had a free kick outside the box, safe from the goalkeeper. After 53 minutes, Werner had a shot from distance. It deflected wide. A couple of minutes later, Sarr had a shot over the bar. And then after 61 minutes, of course, Spurs equalised through Sarr. What did you make of the goal, Johnny? Because, of course, Sarr, he tried to cross it. Dunk tried to block it. It went onto the post. It came out. Sarr then knocked it in. Good finish from the midfielder. And overall, a good performance from him as well.
Oh, you could see some of the comments coming in on the screen there. You know, there's a lot of fans are, you know, like what they're seeing with Sarr. I mean, I'm sure Mikel Arteta would love to have a player like him in his side, you know, but we have him, and I'm glad we have him, because He's somebody for the future, along with Brandon Johnson. Yeah, it was Dunk, I think, that made a little mistake. I think Kulusevski might have hit the ball in initially, and then it hit off Dunk, hit the post, and then Richarlison sort of got in the way or something. He was a bit mixed up, and then it was knocked in by Sarr. And that's what you want, that is what you need. And just to say what Postecoglou was saying about Son, if we get into the top four, it's Son who'll get us there. He'll be one of the players who's instrumental in getting us into the top four, into the Champions League places, because he has the experience. As long as he stays fit, if he stays fit and he keeps playing well to the end of the season, we're finishing the top four. And I know we want Maddison and Romero and all those players fit too, but I think Son is the jewel in the crown because of his experience, but also because he's the captain too. But he's an opportunist type player, and he'll pull a shot out of the bag, shoot from distance. But you have Sarr, you've Son, Bentancur, Romero, Vicario. They're all pretty good players, and they're all playing well. So I think that I wouldn't like to be Wolves and Chelsea and Crystal Palace, because they're going to be playing a really good side. I know the Chelsea game's away, but they're going to be playing a really good side in the next 3 games, and I'm sure they're not looking forward to it. So Sarr is one for the present, and he's also one for the future.
Johnny, let's stay with you. Let's talk a little bit about Heung-min Son, because he came on straight after Sarr scored in the 62nd minute. Son on, Johnson on for Werner and Bentancur. Have you been surprised by the quality of Heung-min Son's leadership on the pitch? Because I tell you what, we hear some cheers at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but when he came on today against Brighton, there was an absolutely huge cheer from the Tottenham Hotspur crowd. Welcome Son back. Of course, a lot of South Korean flags went up around the stadium. It means a lot for him to be back. Of course, disappointment after South Korea, didn't go to the final and didn't lift the trophy. But what does it mean to you to have Heung-min Son back and a real leader on the pitch?
Well, I mean, look, I'm delighted to have him back, and I think for the fan base, it's great to have him back. I think he was a little hard on himself when they lost in the semi-final there. I think he was a little hard on himself. Like, he has high levels, high expectations, and he was kind of saying, well, I have to take the blame on it. I don't think he has to take the blame on it. There's 10 other players to play with him on the team. So I think, it's just one of those things. But he was the super sub today, along with Basuma coming on as well, and I think Kulusevski and Bentancur might have come off, but you could see the difference when he came on. We went on and won the game. So if he's starting all the games now between now and the end of the season, it'll make a huge difference to the team. But imagine finishing the top four without Harry Kane. If we finish the top four this season without Harry Kane's goals, because he was scoring so many for us for season after season. If we can finish the top four, that is immense. And Heung-min Son, there's going to be more goals from him between now and the end of the season. And Maddison as well, if he stays fit, they're going to be getting the service. But I'd like to see Son in a more advanced role, up the middle, up the centre. I'd like to see him as more of a real number 9 striker, if you know what I mean. Like, I just want to see him kind of goal hatching as well. He has the speed, but he's very good in those type of circumstances too. Like, he's very good at shooting from distance, Chris. So he'll take a shot from 20 yards and it'll go in the top corner, or he can score the tap-ins. But I think he's more effective up near the goal, because we have the runners now to run in. He doesn't have to be the one who has to pass it in. We have Maddison there to do that, to spray the ball left and right. So I think he should take a bit more of an advanced role up front, because he's very effective and he's very accurate with his shots. When he hits the ball, it's like when Jermaine Defoe used to hit the ball. It goes like a rocket. And everyone nearly gets out of the way. It's going so fast. But that's what's on. So it's great to have him back. And it's top 4 finish for me if he's still fit to play the end of the season.
Craig, let's come to you. Of course, it's fair to say that Ange Postecoglou was quite heavily criticised last week about the subs at the end of the game, about game management. Of course, we drew 2-2 at Goodison. But, giving 3 of these players at least half an hour pitch today, Son coming on, Johnson coming on, a minute later, Basuma coming on, Kulusevski going off in the 63rd minute. It makes a real difference, doesn't it? That bench, I know we spoke about it earlier, we touched on it, but, to have that quality coming on with half an hour to go, how often have we spoken on this podcast in recent seasons about game changers? Game changers, Son, Johnson, Basuma coming on with half an hour to go. That was the difference today, wasn't it? On mute, Craig.
Sorry. Yes, the substitutions were good today, and they worked. And like I said previously, some players are just better at coming off the bench. You used to see for United those people watching the stream that were of a certain vintage. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was never particularly any good, really, when he started the game. He got most of his goals as a substitute, and what a phenomenal player he was. Some players are just better at coming on. Like I say, I never thought I'd see it, but Højbjerg has been brilliant this season coming off the bench. But having that strength in Son, you know, you could argue our best player, I would say, certainly my favourite player at Tottenham, coming on and seeing that rather than bringing on, with all due respect, an Oliver Skip when you're trying to win a game, he's just a totally different thing. And obviously Sonny is a starter generally, but that's the type of player that you're bringing on. You've got Dragushin sitting on the bench ready to come on if there's any issues or he wants to firm things up. And for the record, really, I don't think the substitutions were hideous last week against Everton. I just don't think we managed the game particularly well, the players that were on the pitch. I said at the time, Kulusevski giving away a stupid free kick in a dangerous position when we've been battered and bruised by set pieces all game, and you're giving away an opportunity to Everton to sling it in the box again, and it kind of ended, you know, resulted in our downfall in the end. You know, I'm convinced if you haven't given that away, we'd have probably seen the game out, albeit that we didn't play particularly well. So, but going back to your original point, having a stronger bench is what all the best teams have. We haven't had it at times this season through injuries, suspensions, and players disappearing to play for their countries. But now we've got a week break in between each game, more or less. And I think that's the key. If you can keep all those 25, 26 players fit, have loads of choice, that squad is looking strong. And, you know, up to and including around the Easter time when teams are still going to be in Europe, still going to be in cups, teams are going to pick up injuries, you'd think, suspensions. So all we've got to do is worry about ourselves, really. That's all we can do. I don't want to be in a position where you're hoping a team slips up so we get somewhere. Let's put it in our own hands and just worry about ourselves and win our own games, because that squad is, in my opinion, strong enough to get top four. And that's all we need to do, is just worry about our own game and just let everybody else slip away, hopefully.
Melvin, let's come to you. Simon writes here, I'd like to bring up the percentage of goals this year from penalties and own goals and deflections and strange goals, etc. I feel it's a very solid defensive third. Honourable mention to James Maddison protecting the goalkeeper today. Excited for the run home. What did you make of the protection of Vicario today, and particularly James Maddison in the centre midfield? Because it's great having players like that back in the starting 11.
So you mean for the corner kicks where he stood in front of Vicario? Yeah. It was something that probably they worked on this week. They had a full week to work on these set pieces, and it's vital that we don't concede from corner kicks, because you just know that the opposition will try to, if they see a weakness in you, they're gonna try to exploit it as much as they can, and you just know that Brentford tried it, City tried it, Everton tried it, and all these clubs are gonna keep trying it, and if we don't practice and prepare for these things on the training pitch, that on match day it's going to be an issue. And today, luckily, it wasn't. And like I said before, I don't see it being a long-term problem for us. It'll probably it's just until they work on it on training, and it's something that we can quickly get out of our game, and we won't have to be talking about this anymore.
And James Maddison, Melvin?
Yeah, James, his performance was okay. I thought he wasn't as sharp as he was earlier in the season. Obviously, he's still coming back from injury. He played 90 minutes today, and he was crucial in the build-up for the goal, which is good. And you know what you're going to get from James Maddison. It's just I think the sharpness in him is still lacking a little bit. I don't think he was sharp as he was in the beginning of the season today, and he'll just get that game by game. You'll probably what's this, his second start or third if you count the Man City game, but But yeah, he's been brilliant. I really wanted him to score from a free kick. I feel that we haven't seen that from him yet. And every time he lines one up, I just think, come on, score. We need someone that can score a free kick. And I mean, Pedro Porro can shoot from outside the box like that. And also, I want to see Maddison shoot from outside the box, kind of like Eriksen used to do. And because a couple of games in the season, you need someone to get you out of jail like that when we can't score or we can't win, and you just shoot one from I don't know 10 to 15 yards and get a really amazing goal. And I feel like he has that in his locker. I mean, he came close today with that whipped shot that he had, and I don't know where you were sitting, Chris, in the stadium, but I don't know how far was it. It looked close on TV. It probably looked even closer on there in the stadium. But I thought that was going in because he scored a similar goal like that this season, and he has a really good whip when he shoots with the ball. And hopefully we need to see more goals and assists from Maddison because the other players are popping up with goals and assists, and we need that from him because he's probably the most creative player out there. And it's good to have him back, but we need, the fit and sharp James Maddison.
Absolutely. Johnny, let's come to you. Stephen writes here, as much as Brighton probably deserved at least a draw, our strength off the bench showed itself, kept the squad as fit, only one game a week. We've got this. It's nice to see that quality, isn't it, from the bench? Because, we've recorded so many podcasts over recent seasons under different managers saying that we haven't had that that strength, from the bench. It's nice to see, isn't it? And I think that's only going to get better and only going to improve after more transfer windows under Ange.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Craig had said earlier, we've moved a lot of the players that we may have had in the team that, sometimes they're described as dead wood, or they're not really, giving too much when they do come on for a few minutes. But those players are kind of gone now. We're weeding them out. And the players that are on the bench are sort of regular team players. So they're familiar with the system that Postecoglou wants them to play. So Højbjerg, he seems to be playing really well off the bench now. And Son, obviously, because of, how he did well with Korea in the championship that they were playing. So he's only back. I didn't expect him to be coming on at halftime. I thought he might have started, but I understand why he didn't. And then if Kulusevski is on the bench and there's somebody else playing in his position, he's able to come on. So the strength and depth has definitely improved in the squad. And once the investment keeps going during this season and into next season, like over the summer, if we invest in a couple of more players in key roles, key positions, I think we can really, in fact, when I mention key positions, I think probably a strike. Like, I know Richarlison's really hit form, and I've no doubt he'll keep getting better, and Brandon Johnson's very good, but it would be nice to have another striker, somebody who's really prolific, if we can get someone like that. But off the bench, we definitely have better players coming on when we need them. But as you said, Chris, that wasn't always the case. A couple of seasons ago, you'd be kind of saying, this is not great. You're looking at the 7 players on the bench or whatever, none of them are going to make a difference to this second half, but now they are. And so you can really see the difference.
Craig, let's come to you. Johnson had a shot straight at the goalkeeper after 65 minutes. And then after 76 minutes and 78 minutes, Brighton with 2 glorious chances to probably win the game. Certainly go in the lead and perhaps go on to win the game. They must be very, very disappointed that they've lost that game, particularly after those 2 fantastic, glorious chances they had.
Yeah, it was funny that second half. We did, as we've done before, and as I said earlier, that we started off second half like a train, much better in that first part of the second half, but Brighton grew back into it, and we were under it a bit there, weren't we? And I think if they'd, like you say, if they'd got one of those goals, it might have been a different result. But they could probably feel hard done by today, quite rightly. Did them not having De Zerbi with them play any effect on the result? I don't know. They're a good team, Brighton, like I say. They're a dangerous team. I do like the way they play football. I do like to watch them. Having Tariq Lamptey back for them was a big plus, I think. they got some really good players. I love that Mitoma. I think he's a dangerous player. I think he's a cracking winger. It's quite frightening, actually. The players, if you could cherry pick players, a bit like Football Manager, the players I'd love to see at Tottenham, Mitoma would be right up there, along with Pedro Neto of Wolves, who we have actually been linked to. I know we've got this abundance of wingers, but they're all talented players. It does. I'm going to mention him again. I know people don't like it, but it does. I do wonder where we'd be if we still had managed to convince Harry Kane to stay another season. Perhaps we'd be doing worse. Who knows? Who knows? But we can't think like that. You know, it's just, it is frustrating, a little bit frustrating when you see that all this time he probably wanted us to play like we've been playing, and the one season that we actually play like that over the last 5 years, and Harry Kane's gone. But hey, he's gone. All we can do is carry on and, you know, go with the players we've got. But
you mention our ex-players a lot on this podcast, Craig.
I do, but you know, at least they're ex-Tottenham players. I'm not talking about Arsenal players or West Ham players.
They've gone. Forget about them.
They've gone. You know, I think we all know Harry will be back one day in some capacity, and you know, I can't forget him because of what he brought to the team. A bit like Gareth Bale. I'll always love Gareth Bale. But you know, we got back into the game. It was great to see Maddison get some more minutes in his legs. I thought he did put in a lot of work. Just on a side subject, if anybody's interested, there's a really good about a half-hour YouTube video on Stephen Hendry's Q-Tips, I think is the name of the channel. He went and played snooker in James Maddison's house. I think it was a couple of weeks ago it was filmed. And it's really good. He just plays a couple of frames with them. And Maddison talks a lot about football, his life, but about Tottenham. And Maddison actually said in that, there's something brewing at Spurs. You can smell it, I think was the phrase he used, if anybody's seen it. You can tell by the way he talks.
Yeah. I saw that Stephen Hendry said that you don't clean the cloth.
Yes, he doesn't brush his snooker table correctly. It's worth watching just to see James Maddison's house. I mean, this lad's room, I suppose, man cave. He's got a full-size 12x6 slate bed snooker table, and it's upstairs. Christ knows how they got it up the stairs. He said it took 6 blokes to carry the 3 bits of slate up, and he's got a pool table, a dartboard, as you expect, a poker table. It's just phenomenal. But to see James Maddison relaxed and playing snooker, and he talks a bit about himself, and you can tell he loves Tottenham as well. So it's well worth a watch.
Melvin, let's come to you. After 80 minutes, Ben Davies and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg came on. It was going to be Oliver Skip and Højbjerg, who went off, Destiny Udogie and Pablo Sarr. Any idea why Skip didn't come on and Davies did at the end?
No, I don't know. It's just fresh legs, I guess. I don't know. I think maybe he thought Destiny was maybe fatiguing a bit. I think he was gassed out. I know the fullbacks, and they, along with Pedro Porro, they cover a lot of ground. I mean, to go up and down the wing, to play in the Premier League, and I think he just freshened up in that position. And Ben Davies has always been solid for us. I think it's a no-brainer to bring him on. And yeah, I don't know why he didn't bring on Skip, but it just shows the depth in the bench now. Now you need to fight for your position. You need to fight to be one of those 5 substitutes, because even there's gonna be times where a quality player is gonna be left on the bench and not even brought on. It's probably the reason we won the game today, the depth in our bench, because they came on and combined for the goal. And
Johnny, let's come to you. In the 83rd minute, Brennan Johnson had a shot. It went to VAR. Was that the correct decision?
Look, I mean, with VAR, it's a challenge. It's almost like what the blue cards are going to be doing. You know, it's just causing so many problems. I would happily get rid of the VAR tomorrow and just take a chance on the referee and the linesmen or lineswomen, whoever's doing it, just to let them decide what the goal is. But that decision, I don't know, Chris, to be honest with you. I'm sort of 50-50 on it. I know on the other one, the Brighton penalty, I think that was definitely a penalty. Well, on this one, I don't know. I'm not too sure. But whenever the referee goes to the monitor, you kind of know what's going to happen. But with VAR, I think it's just delaying the whole game. I think it's just ruining the game. And I think if there was a vote done tomorrow, on VAR, if you want to keep it or don't want to keep it, I think it would be overwhelming no. Don't know what the rest of your guests think on that, but I would definitely say no. But in that one, I don't know really. I'm 50-50 on that one.
Well, Brighton had another chance after 89 minutes. The offside flag went up. Højbjerg then had a shot over the bar, and then came the winner. We all thought it was going to be 1-1, but of course, Sonny popped up with a fantastic assist. Brennan Johnson with the goal. Craig, what did you make of our winning goal? Because I tell you what, that stadium went absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we went crazy here, as the cat will back me up on that. It was just brilliant. I just had a feeling as soon as we won the ball back there that something was going to happen. There was going to be a really good chance there. Richarlison threw to Son, pace down the wing, great cross to the back post for Johnson, as I say, breaking his neck to get in there. Do you know, let me tell you, although he wasn't far out, that weren't an easy finish because it was bobbling, easily could have gone over the bar. And then people
as you know, Craig, you've played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and you missed an opportunity like that, didn't you?
It was very much like that. It's not easy. Yeah, not easy at all. My chance was slightly harder than that, let me tell you. But it wasn't. But yeah, no, it wasn't an easy finish. He was running at full pelt, bobbled up. It was still rising as it hit the back of the net. In fact, it was one of those you just waiting for the net to ripple, as I say. He seemed very calm after he scored. He was just doing the old Dele Alli sort of like, follow me, come to me sort of thing. And I thought, has the linesman's flag gone up? And obviously, when you watch it back, you think, no, that's onside. No, that's onside. And as soon as you see that, you see Johnson was actually well behind Son when he played the ball across. It was a goal all day. And it was one of those times where I'd have loved to have been in that South Stand to experience that. And then the nightclub atmosphere afterwards, as Ange would say. So yeah, great to get those 3 points. What a good feeling to score a late goal.
Absolutely. Well, as I've said, Spurs are back in the top 4. We face Wolves next here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. Melvin, let's start with you. Actually, before we do the Wolves preview, man of the match today. Melvin, who would you go with?
It's going to be a strange one because we didn't really talk about this guy, and I wanted to talk about him now. And I'm going to give it to Papa Sarr because I think he covered a lot of ground today. And it's interesting because he started ahead of Bissouma today. I know he came back a bit earlier. Maybe he was a bit fresher, and maybe because Bissouma was suffering from illness a little bit. But Papa Sarr, credit because he scored a brilliant goal, and I just love the celebration that he did. He just went into the fans and hugged them. Yes, he got a yellow card, and yes, he could have gotten sent off, and we would all been fuming if he did. So I'll give it to him because I thought he's a very, very solid player, and he's brilliant. He covers lots of ground. His energy and he gets into the box. He scored a couple of goals for us this season, and it's just he's that type of player. He just covers the ground so quick because he's got some height on him, and yeah. So I'll give it to Pape Sarr.
Well said, Melvin. I think Johnny and I actually discussed Pape Sarr to say what an excellent performance it was. I'd give it to Sarr as well. Johnny, do you agree?
I'm going to give it to Richarlison. Yeah, because I thought his work rate was very good in the match, and although the balls didn't fall to him or he maybe took an extra touch before he hit, I just thought his work rate's very good for the team. And I think just in relation to the off-the-pitch stuff, the fact that he's coming to terms with that and he's dealing with that and trying to improve his life, I'm going to give it to Richarlison today.
What about you, Craig?
It's tough for me. I can't really look past Sarr, but I personally thought Van der Ven did a lot of dirty work again today. between those two for me, but probably Sarr just edged it because it's funny. Porro as well. He needs. You say he could need a rest. We're only playing one game a week, so he probably can handle the workload. But Porro, I think, has been really good. He hasn't been swinging in as some good crosses or set pieces like we used to. But I thought he's been. When a player just does their job and does it well, you tend to forget them, don't you? And it's like Sarr, that position. It's quite easy to overlook Sarr, but he was so good today. But as I say, Van der Ven, between him and Van der Ven, but Sarr probably edged it for me. Yeah.
Melvin, let's come to you on the Wolves game next week. Wolves are currently 10th in the Premier League table. They've played 24. They've won 9, drawn 5, lost 10. Got a goal difference of -2. They have 32 points. They are 15 points away from us. They lost 2-0 at home against Brentford today on Saturday. Do you think that Ange Postecoglou will make any changes for the Wolves game? And your score prediction?
Probably Son will retain his position. He'll come in and wear the armband again. And other than that, I don't think there will be much change. Possibly Bissouma coming in, but you just have to think for who, because Sarr scored and deserves to start again. Bentancur needs to keep playing to bring up his fitness and his sharpness. And I just think if he keeps the same, I think you don't really change a winning side, but obviously you have to bring in Son, because Son is leadership. I think is a quality that you don't see it, but you notice it in the result. It's something that you saw when he came on the pitch. I think the fans, they showed their appreciation of Son, and I think he will be the one that comes in for Werner, and it's unlucky for him because at the same time I don't think he's done much wrong. He's played well ever since we've signed him. He's producing assists, which is important for us, and he's going to be great coming off the bench, hopefully. But also it will be a disappointing, because you think if you need to bring on Werner, you're either losing or you're still chasing the victory. So it's a tricky one because he's playing well and doesn't deserve to come off. But at the same time, it's Heung-min Son we're talking about. He's someone who's world class and slots straight into the team. And as prediction wise, I'm gonna say 2-0. I think we'll keep the first clean sheet. Well, not the first, but we'll keep a clean sheet, which is something rare for us this season and something that I try to look forward to, because it's a sign of growth as a team. When you don't concede, and it just shows the team is starting to become more consistent. So I'll say 2-0 Spurs.
What about you, Johnny?
Well, last time out, I think did they not come back from being 1-0 down to beat us 2-1 the last time we played them?
They've had some good results here of late.
Yeah, I think it was Mario Lemina's late winner that beat us. But I think after that game, the last time we played Wolves, I think Postecoglou came out and said we lacked fluency in that game. We started well, but we just didn't take our chances. It'll be similar to the game today. It's going to be the same kind of thing, because Wolves and Brighton are similar style of play, I think, in a way. Brighton a little bit more attacking. Wolves are a bit more of an counter kind of side, but they're going to cause problems. I'll go with 3-1. I'll say Spurs to win 3-1, but it's going to be a tricky. We could go 1-0 down, early on. I think we've enough to come back and win, but we need to be going 1-0 up, to be honest. 2-0 and 3-0, as Craig said. That's what we should be. But I'm sure he's telling the players to do that. So we go with 3-1 to Spurs.
And lastly, Craig, your score prediction and whether you think that Ange will change any of the starting 11. Will Son be back, do you think, in the starting 11?
Yeah, I do. I think Son will start. I think Werner will perhaps drop out. It'll be Son, Richarlison, and probably Kulusevski again across the front. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops Bentancur and brings in Bissouma. And the midfield will be Sarr, Bissouma, and Maddison. Back five probably the same, as long as they're all fit. So as for score, I think it's going to be the same as today. I think it's going to be the same scoreline as today, 2-1.
I agree, Craig. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. But 3 points is 3 points. We don't care what the score is, as long as we get the 3 points, stay in the top four and get Champions League football for next season. And as we've all said on this podcast this evening, that we can see all of the positives, and we can see something special happening at this football club. And let's hope that we play in Champions League next year. It'd be great to have that back. And of course, it'll be under the new format as well. Johnny, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Where can people find you, and when are you next back on the radio?
Back on the radio tomorrow at 3 p.m. GMT, and q102.ie. And you can go to Dublin's Q102 app as well. You can download it in the Android or iTunes store, and you can get it for free. And you can listen to me there from 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Thanks. Johnny, thanks so much for your time. Pleasure having you back. And Melvin, where can people find you? And you're out to another party tonight.
Maybe. Well, probably. Yeah. I'm just here in Malta. I follow Spurs. I try to come to many games when I can. I'm on Twitter if you want to find me, Melvin Malta. I'm quite active. I usually follow back. I usually follow most Spurs fans, and I'm quite chatty and love talking about Spurs. If you cut me, I bleed. Lily White, as I say. But yeah, hopefully we get the 3 points next week and we talk about another victory. Can I just say one thing? I'm on another Spurs podcast after another victory, and this has been, I think, 5 in a row now, because I'm counting. Every single time I've been on, it's been a victory, and it's now 5 in a row.
That's good, Melvin. We're going to have you on every week.
Yeah.
I know. I remember that time when Melvin used to come on, and it was like defeat, and people used to stop me in the stadium and say, "Melvin's not on tonight, surely." I didn't like to answer them. Melvin, it's good that you've got that break. You've got a good streak with us at the moment. And Craig, thanks so much for coming back. Look forward to having you on again very soon. Where can people find you?
Yeah, no worries. Always good to come on against with a win, and thankfully got a fair few this season. Sea Razors, yeah, 100%, yeah. If you want to follow me at DM9 on Twitter. Looking forward to the golf challenge. I'll tell you, Mr. Maloney said he said he'd be up for the golf, so that'd be good. But just calling out Mr. Altman, like fresh from your fair victory in the go-karts, you need to come. You need you there. You've got to be done. And I think it's the beard, as Gary said. I've grown the beard back, and we've won a game. And I was clean shaven last week, and we'd lost. So, we didn't lose. We drew. It felt like a loss, but you know what I mean. So I'm keeping the beard.
Craig, do you want to tell everyone what challenge we're doing on the 8th of March?
8th of March. Yes. We are. I don't know if it's a challenge. I suppose it is a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, isn't it? We're to raise awareness for homelessness. We are sleeping out at Peterborough Stadium. I don't actually know whether it's going to be on the pitch or in the stands, but that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going up to Peterborough Stadium on the Friday night and spending the night there to raise awareness for homelessness. So Chris has got the Just Giving page. So if you want to donate to it, it's a great charity. Get on that on Chris's socials, and the links are on there. I'm sure he'll put them out again. It'd be great if you could donate to that. And whether we'll get much sleep, I've no idea. I've no idea how cold it's going to be or wet. So, or what we got to take with us, whether we can take anything with us, or whether it's truly just turn up in your clothes and suffer. We don't actually know, but that's the whole point of doing it. So, kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks, Craig, and thanks to everybody who has donated and sponsored us so far. It is really appreciated, and the charity do such wonderful work and help so many homeless people to eat, drink, and look after them. So it's a really, really great cause. So if you can donate, please do. Johnny, Melvin, Craig, thanks so much for your time this evening. It's a pleasure talking to you, especially after a win. As I've said, hopefully Spurs can continue this winning form and get top 4 at the end of the season. If you are watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you are listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And the security are here. I'm out of this stadium. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.